Hi everyone, welcome back to day 2 of Swimtips from the Stairwell. And just in case you thought I may have been exaggerating, here's my stairwell. There's my desk where all the sessions get written. There's some session in the bottles getting ready, the silver general model getting ready. There's my little post box, more tax deliveries there. That's where the bottles arrive from. Little mention for Club La Santa, of course, and new little coffee cups. We were hoping to have those ready for the lake. Who knows what will happen there. End of April, we were hoping to be back at our lake. We've got our cups, so there's no more paper being thrown away and so on. But yeah, let me show you, continuing the theme of yesterday. Oh yeah, here we go. There's more tax bottles. There's the new orange one. You might be interested in those when the pools reopen, of course. Let me show you what I set up. So I talked to you yesterday about the just attaching some elastic cord to my hand paddles, and there they are. Just to make it try to run a little bit more smoothly, I've put a couple of cable ties together through there, and I'm going to show you a few key movements. Now, you may be confused why they're hanging from my stairs. So you'll see most demonstrations being done with the body pivoted at the hips, the upper body horizontal. It's very uncomfortable, it's very unnatural, and you will struggle to rotate. What I would like to show you and demonstrate is by standing underneath, keeping the body upright and the hands pulling sort of, in a vertical alignment up and down, you can be a whole lot more closely aligned with what the body does in the water. I'm going to get my hips moving, I'm going to rotate the upper body, I'm going to work to keep the head still, and then that's going to be far more effective. More in a second. So you can see my stretch cords hanging from the ceiling. Hopefully you managed to get some. I sent some links out as to where they might still be available, and hopefully deliveries are still taking place. But worst case, a little bit of elastic cord, some old hand paddles, attach them the best way you can, make it run smoothly. Not the end of the world if you have to tie them off around a door frame or a post like this or so, and you've got the space or you haven't got the height to sort of hang them down from. You can still, do a really good job of keeping the endurance moving through the arms. And you don't even have to have much resistance going through them, because swimming is about reproducing movements thousands of times. You don't need to be absurdly strong to do that. Your cords do not need to be super tight in terms of the resistance. You need to reproduce many, many minutes of movement. If you're doing an Ironman, you've got up to 2 hours. You've got 100 strokes in 100 meters for some people. There's thousands of strokes to be taken. So it's more about the endurance. So nothing too aggressive in terms of the resistance, but the ability to pull on them repeatedly, and some of the sets. And I will, tonight's going to be more about getting ready and what else we might need to do that. And then tomorrow I'm going to go through some actual movements, although I will post a session. But let's go back a step, some warm-ups. If you contact me down at swimfortry.com, I will send a dryland routine and text I had published in Triathlete Europe magazine a few years back. I'll send that to you. I'm going to try to make that available on our training plans download. It's available for free, so you can get warmed up ahead of starting the harder work with the stretch cords. So a dryland warm-up. Also, some help on, we have a swim drill called the torpedo, and it would be great to work that in conjunction with this to make sure you're getting your upper body rotated. So a couple of things, a little bit of prep work. We're going to upload the torpedo drill so you can have a little look at that. I'll probably get that filmed in a little way, so just so you can see that. And actually, let me see if I'm in position. You'll kind of get the gist of this. So keeping the head absolutely still, and then there's your front crawl body position. Obviously, and backstroke as well. Keeping the head still, unless you turn to breathe, unless you're lifting to sight. That's kind of what wants to be happening. So that is why swimming dryland with the stretch cords in this position, if you can possibly set it up in this configuration, will be so much more advantageous. Now, excuse me. Dryland swimming. So I love the swim bench concept, and our dear friend Rob and the guys do a wonderful job of creating those at the Vasa company. I know they're very busy at the moment shipping those as people start to take their training indoors. So, for all those that asked about Aiden, he's good. He's still got his little cough. You might be able to hear him in the background, going a bit stir crazy today. But appreciate all your wishes and kind words. So, swim bench. A lot of people argue, will it replace my swimming? No, it supplements. Dryland is all about supplementing your swim training in a normal course of events. Unfortunately, the next few weeks might be different to that. So, the two things go hand in hand. I've always been a big believer in your dryland work, supplementing, making the shoulders stronger, keeping them healthy, being able to absorb the extra workload as your technique improves and you want to get faster and you add some more fitness into it. You need to keep your arms, your shoulders healthy, your tools, the trade, in good condition. The shoulder is a very versatile joint. It's controlled by lots of small muscle groups, and its wide range of motion is a result of lots of clever, very clever design, lots of small muscle groups doing a lot of work, and you get that range of movement, and you can easily overload that. Hence why we go back and suggest you get that warm up done ahead of anything we do here. Okay, so body position, think about trying to get in a standing position, try to get your stretch cords hanging so you can engage the full body position. I'll try to get that filmed right now so you can see exactly what we're talking about. So I'm just putting my hands in the usual paddle position, and I've got my elastic tethered up above, and trust me, I've done my warm up earlier, and I'm going to just allow that elastic to work. It's not the smoothest. Hopefully you'll buy a good pair. They may even come with a little pulley system that you wrap around a movement when you tie it off, and it'll just run a whole lot smoother. But considering this cost a pair of old paddles and a piece of old elastic that I found, it's not bad. Okay, now remember, at the front of the stroke there's not much power here. There isn't any really propulsion, so it's kind of wasteful to overdo it. Okay, you're setting the position, you're waiting till you get into that horizontal position. Obviously when you're horizontal and you're in the water, that will be vertical. Once you're here and you try to achieve that with a elbow pivot, popping the elbow out, bringing the fingertips down. A lot of people talk about the early vertical forearm, the paddle being created. You remember, during my fitness sessions, we talk about pulling, not just with the palm, but also with the forearm, okay? Now, some of these will be a little bit more advanced and you will be able to get an over-the-surface recovery out of them. This pair might be a little bit limited, but I'm going to give it a go, okay? And I'm a little bit off center here, so forgive my elbow bumping the wall. There we go. Now, I'm pulling quite central. I like the idea of my stroke, my technique being used to keep me swimming straight, okay? In open water, there's nothing to keep you swimming straight, okay, other than lifting the head excessively to side. You've got your technique, and the better aligned you are, the more everything sends you forwards. And I'm going back to my old technique of just sort of pulling under and recovering, pulling under and just recovering, just to get ease of use here, okay? If I make the same movements, the same symmetry, the same speed, the same alignment, I'm going to move in a straight line. I won't need to side as often as the person that puts a wide pull in, wiggles around, goes excessively wide, sweeps across the body line. Think about keeping the hands pulling. If you were swimming a length in the pool, staying on top of the black line, keeping the hands between the backbone all the way through and on the black line, that wouldn't do a bad job of keeping you absolutely swimming straight, okay? And once I tip the fingertips over, I keep that straight, keep the water pushing back, and even at the back of the stroke, I'm using the tricep. And again, if there is a movement, if there was a muscle group in the body that I would work to strengthen in a gym, would be the triceps, okay? Let me balance these out a little bit. You can do some work just here. This is not the best contraption for working the triceps, but that is a strength movement and you need that at the back of the stroke. And I'm even putting a little bit of a wrist movement in there to keep the palms facing the wall I'm swimming away from. And if I go back to the single, I can get my length in here and you can see how I keep pushing through, and then just as I'm getting towards the end of the stroke, I would take the pressure off and I'd move into my recovery. I'll talk about stroke rate and techniques and sort of the relationship of the hands. You know, you've got your, I'm keeping the hands at completely 180 here. It's quite good for this style of training. I wouldn't always race that. I might adopt more of a near catch-up style of movement, okay? And let's go back to the over the surface recovery. It'll be easier to clarify that. Okay, I'll talk about stroke rates and the relationship of the hands at a later date. Let's see how you get on with that. Get your stretch cord set up and we'll go through. I'll give you some more information. If you do need more help, just drop me a line down at swimfortry.com. I'll talk to you soon.